going to be our Spider-Man reviews. We're going to get you guys ready for Spider-Man Homecoming. So we're going to do the first three ones, the Sam Raimi trilogy. We're not going to do Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, the Mark Webb films. We're going to do those maybe when the sequel comes out, Spider-Man Homecoming 2. But for now, we're just going to stick with the Raimi trilogy. So we're going to start it off with Spider-Man from 2002. Now, I remember, and this film was, of course, directed by Sam Raimi, who did the Evil Dead series, of course, and he did For Love of the Game and several other films, Quick and the Dead with Sharon Stone, Gene Hackman. So I was a huge fan of his when I found out he was going to do this back in early 2001. First getting into the acting and the characters, I really love Tobey Maguire, and I love also seeing the origin story of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And it's a really good, well-told origin story too. And I love seeing it from Peter Parker's point of view. And I like how Tobey Maguire, he really does a good job of conveying a lot of his emotions through facial expressions. And I thought he really brought a lot to the table. The shyness and the awkwardness and the nerdy qualities that he brought to Peter Parker. And then when he's Spider-Man, the quippy stuff that he was saying, being a smartass sometimes. I really loved him a lot as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. So I still feel that way after rewatching it.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is, I feel like, a little bit of a different vibe from, the cartoon series, but he still has that. They try to give him some of that quippiness when he's Spider-Man, here and there, not a whole lot.
Yeah,
but,
not a ton.
But the whole nerdiness and the shyness, they definitely got right. And Tobey Maguire's a good actor, so I think they made a right choice with him.
Yeah, definitely. Also, we got to talk a little bit about Kirsten Dunst now. I remember thinking back, I wasn't the hugest fan of her, Mary Jane, but after rewatching these movies, I was just about to say, after rewatching these movies, she doesn't bother me as much as used to occur to me in my head as much as I thought she did. So and the biggest part that I loved about these movies too, their relationship. I think her and Tobey Maguire have really great chemistry together, and I also love how through the series and through this film especially, how it progresses their relationship, where she kind of doesn't really notice him too much at first. Obviously, she stopped him and helped him with the bus, which was cool. It was a great, it was nice to see, Mary Jane do something nice while everyone else is making fun of him. But, to see their progression from him being so shy towards her and then, progressing them when we get later in the film, it's a very meaningful relationship, and I really like their chemistry. It's really good, and they got good interaction, too.
Definitely. I think for me, though, my favorite is Willem Dafoe. He's the man in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just anything Willem Dafoe does is just automatically I love. But he fit this role perfectly, especially the laugh and, the aggressiveness. He just was the perfect fit for Green Goblin.
And also when he's in those scenes where he's doing where he's a schizo, his character, you're buying that. You're
it's like the Gollum scene even before.
Good comparison. I wasn't thinking. Well, I guess they both came out the same year, May 2002, December 2002. So, but good comparison. I like that.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe is amazing. Interesting fun fact for you guys. Nicolas Cage was actually one of the original choices to play Green Goblin. I could have seen him doing it too, but I'm
not as good as Willem Dafoe.
I'm glad they got Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is perfect.
And even in the more dramatic moments, he pulls those off too.
Yeah. Well, also too, I love how they start off the film where you really get seeing that this character is actually, he's a good guy. All he's trying to do is just advance his company. He's not trying to kill or do evil things until what happens, his experiment goes crazy wrong. So, but I like how
he takes that enhancement of the gas.
Exactly. But
crazy.
Yeah, but I like how you get to identify with the character first, not from the point of he's a billionaire, but just he's a nice, average guy in terms of his personality. He's not like an over eccentric, psychotic human being. Obviously he's a little, crazy towards his son, but that's a different story. We're just talking about in the shrewd sense of him as a person. He's not a bad person. He's not a bad person at all, and it's kind of you feel more sympathetic towards him after what happens because it's from the kind of the experiment gone wrong.
Well, yeah, but you can even see too, when he meets Peter, you can see he likes Peter more than Harry.
He wishes that's what his son was.
Well, because Peter's super smart and Harry kind of not. They say he's been in different schools and all that. But speaking of James Franco, I really like in the role too. A lot of people don't like him in this role, but I like James Franco. So I thought he'd hit this fine. Maybe not in Spider-Man 3, but in this one and the second one, he's definitely really good.
We'll get into our Spider-Man 3 review. I think the more the issue is the script and his story. But he's fine as an actor, as a character, or not a character, but as an actor.
Yeah.
But no, in this film, I agree with you. I really love James Franco. Another fun fact, he actually auditioned for Peter Parker, was very close to getting the role and got this role instead. But I'm with you. I love James Franco too, and their relationship too. Granted, in the story, they'd only been friends, a couple months because he had just gotten, he's new at this school, I guess now, so him and Peter just they're now best friends, but you do, it is a meaningful relationship, and you do feel the connection there as that they're best friends. So I love seeing that relationship too, how it progresses throughout the 3 films. It's really meaningful, it's really cool, it's really good, it's very impactful too, and again, they have great interaction and good chemistry as well. Alright, now we gotta talk about, I have kind of like a little Mount Rushmore of the greatest comic book castings of all times. There's 4 people I got Tom Hiddleston as Loki, I got Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, I got Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and the number 1 for me is J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. Like, this guy is carbon.
Perfect fit.
He is right out of the comics, J. Jonah Jameson, and I gotta say too, in the Amazing Spider-Man series and the new Spider-Man Homecoming series, I really hoped that he was going to come back as J. Jonah Jameson, because they did the same kind of thing with Judi Dench as M in the James Bond series. That just didn't make a big deal saying this is a reboot. So I really wanted him back, but obviously now he's Commissioner Gordon in the Batman and the Justice League, the DC universe. So, and J.K. Simmons is just amazing. His humor, the way he
laugh,
the way he bosses Parker around, the way he bosses all his other employees around, like he's an asshole, but he's an asshole that you love.
Of course.
It's amazing, and he just gives off such an amazing J. Jonah Jameson. He's amazing. That's all I got.
Yeah, he kind of steals the show in all the scenes that he's in.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Definitely. And the more times you see him, you're like, I want more J. Jonah Jameson. So, yeah, no, he was great. We got to, of course, talk about the music in this film. I love how it opens on that theme with the Spider-Man, and then you hear that Spider-Man music come up. Like, I always tell people, you can notice a good score by that theme music. Like, if it's memorable, that's when you know it's good. And anything usually Danny Elfman does is usually memorable, from Batman to Dick Tracy to Edward Scissorhands to any other Tim Burton you can probably name that's not Ed Wood. His music is so memorable. It fits well with the characters and the action moments. It's epic, and the sad moments, like you're feeling that emotion of what you're supposed to feel. So I really love his score.
I think the costumes look great too. Spider-Man's outfit looks really good, really sleek, and then Green Goblin's suit is really cool too with his glider. And you don't like it? I mean, I like the helmet. It looks just like it does in the comics pretty much.
To me, it kind of looks like a Power Ranger, like
kind of weird with the mouth a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that costume. I mean, Willem Dafoe is obviously he's amazing in it, and you can tell like he's in it and he's commanding the voice and all that. So that was fine. It's just the costume. It kind of felt like something out of Power Rangers or like cosplay.
I like Power Rangers.
I do too, but not in a Spider-Man film. But getting just back into this, if you look at the original concept if you go like onto Google, you'll see a Spider-Man original Green Goblin costume. It was freaking so much better than what we got in this movie. If I had not seen that version, maybe I would have liked this one a little bit better, but the original version is the one I wish they would have gone to. It's a little more faithful to the comic books and kind of the animated show, where it's more of the latex mask kind of thing. It's a little more menacing, a little more scary. It's not plastic, rubbery kind of thing. So I just felt like that would have infused with his face a little more, made him a little more crazier and menacing and scarier for me personally, but the performance still sold it for me. I'm not going to let the performance ruin it because I wasn't crazy about the mask, but seeing him on the glider and how it moved and stuff, that was great. The action and him moving and fighting.
His bombs and all the little props that he has.
I love seeing all that stuff. It was great.
Sleep.
Yeah, no, that was all cool stuff. I'm just saying, if they had gone with the original mask, it would have added an extra layer to his amazing performance.
So it's just the mask you didn't like?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Also, too, I wanted to say that I loved, of course, seeing Spider-Man climb on walls and also swinging, saving people, like when he saved that little kid. Cool heroic moments. And when he saved Mary Jane, some really cool heroic moments that define the character, obviously, when he saved her in that great alleyway scene. And then we get to see her boobs, kind of, basically.
It was very cold in that scene.
Yeah, so... but yeah, no, and I thought that they actually shared a really good superhero movie kiss. I thought that was actually a good moment.
That's like the iconic MTV,
Kiss Awards.
Kiss, yeah. I mean... That's one of the more iconic moments from the movie, I feel like, just because of that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's go into our favorite quotes. I'm going to go with one you've probably never heard in the Spider-Man universe. With great power comes great responsibility. It just, obviously, it defines Spider-Man. It defines what this film is all about, because obviously he needs to learn that lesson. He obviously had great loss because he didn't, listen to that quote. And I just think it really, as I just said, it defines everything that is Spider-Man, and it hits me a certain way when I hear that line. It still holds up that as my favorite quote in this film.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably got to be mine too, just because it's, like you said, it is the Spider-Man quote. But I also do like the line when he's in the wrestling thing, and he's like, "The human spider," and he's like, "That sucks."
Bruce Campbell?
Yeah. he's like, Spider-Man!
Ash.
Yeah.
The Amazing Spider-Man! Yeah, no, I like seeing Bruce Campbell. And there we got our Bruce Campbell appearance. He does it in all 3 films, which, of course, we'll talk about. Let's get into some of the nitpicks and flaws. You kind of already heard one of mine was the Green Goblin mask. I wasn't the biggest fan of. They should have went with the original
And
concept.
Speaking of Green Goblin, how about his really terrible idea to send his glider speeding right at him with the spikes out? Even if Spider-Man got hit, he still would have got hit too, I feel like. I don't know. Not the brightest idea.
I wasn't really thinking about it like that. I mean, my only defense to say to that is he probably would have jumped out of the way. He was probably so shocked Spider-Man jumped out.
And he was on the ground already, and then he stood up. If he had just stayed on the ground, he would have been out of the way.
Maybe.
So,
I mean,
not good planning.
I guess, maybe.
Mr. Osborn. And, I mean, the CGI, like, it's 2002. They hadn't really perfected it yet. It wasn't bad, but sometimes a few scenes, it's like, you can really tell. I mean,
yeah, no,
they had to do it, but
yeah, no. If you're holding it up to today's standards, I agree with you.
I mean,
but
you can't
in 2000,
do that, though.
yeah, no, in 2002,
that.
by 2002 standards, I agree. It was probably pretty decent at that.
Solid.
It was pretty good.
They definitely improved it a lot in the second movie. But
for
this
sure.
one, like, it had some moments where it was bad and some moments where it was pretty good, but
yeah,
it was not consistent.
No, definitely. Really quick, some of the few Easter eggs we noticed on reviewing this film. We got Stan Lee. I believe this was one of his first cameos. I believe his first one was the hot dog vendor in X-Men on the beach with Senator Kelly. In this one, he's playing one of the bystanders on the ground when Green Goblin attacks the building, so that was really cool getting to see Stan Lee. One of the other ones that I heard was when they're in J. Jonah Jameson's office and they're trying to get a picture of Spider-Man. He said, Eddie's been on it for weeks. Eddie Brock, obviously a reference to Venom. We also got a little reference to the Lizard when Harry says, what happened, Pete? He's like, well, I was late and Dr. Connors fired me again. You were late again? But he said Dr. Connors. That's Dr. Kirk Connors who plays the Lizard. We get to see Dr. Kirk Connors played by Dylan Baker in Spider-Man 2 and also in Spider-Man 3. They never went that Lizard route, which really upset me in the Raimi series. And also, of course, Ralph Ifen from Replacements and Little Nicky and several other films played Dr. Kirk Connors. And Harry Potter. And, of course, he played Dr. Kirk Connors in The Amazing Spider-Man. So, but I thought that was a cool reference again, Dr. Kirk Connors. I'm sure there's other Easter eggs we noticed, but that's all we kind of noticed on reviewing. But let's get into final thoughts. This film is still solid for me. It still holds up. Obviously, some of the CGI doesn't. Like I said, I wasn't the huge fan of the mask, but it's still emotional. It still has a lot of depth in it. The action is still pretty good, especially some of the combat fights between the Goblin and Spider-Man. I do like a lot of the visuals for the most part. It still pretty much holds up, other than some CGI shots as we mentioned. The acting is pretty good in this for the most part. I like a lot of the relationships in it, the chemistry between the two leads, as well as the chemistry between Harry and Peter, as well as Norman and Harry. They're very meaningful relationships. They go a long way in this film, and I'm gonna go with giving this film an 8.8 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like this movie a lot. For the time, it was, amazing, and it still holds up. I mean, I'm kind of spoiled with what the movies we have coming out now, and just the way they do that, but it can't really compare to that, but it definitely, I thought it's a lot of fun. I like all the acting choices, especially Willem Dafoe, and Tobey Maguire, and James Franco, and everybody pretty much, but I think it's still a good movie. It really holds up today still. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let us know if you liked it in the comments section, and if you like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.